increasingly the thinking is that the manufacturers themselves have to start getting involved in this chain, because these batteries are fairly complex, by the way. It's not really easy to dismantle them, and sometimes there's sort of IP into the battery, as well, and they're not willing to share that. So some of them have to go back to the manufacturer in any case. The EU has actually made some very good legislations, as always. The EU is sort of ahead of the game. Last year, they've mandated that all new batteries over time must have some content of recycled material in them. The recycling industry is very nascent for two reasons. One, the economics are not quite there. So actually, only about 1% of these critical raw materials are recycled, because it's still cheaper to mine them straight, from the ground than to recycle.
Okay.
And I suspect that's because the social and environmental cost of mining is not being put in this analysis. That's kind of a hunch, or what a lot of people actually say is true. But we've got to make it, through incentives or policies, much more profitable to recycle them. So, and as Europe has done, mandate that certain percentage of the batteries must have recycled content. So it encourages people to go into that process.
You can't just chuck it away and, leave it in a drawer or something and not do anything about it, which is what a lot of people are doing at the moment. Maybe because the people, I see this, occur a little bit more, but usually is that people don't know what to do with used items, used tech, and they don't know how to recycle it. But now I'm seeing, I can speak for Bangkok at least, I see a lot of selected places where they implement like huge yellow trash bags and said this is especially for recycling batteries and stuff, and then recycling used iPhones and everything like that. So that's good. But let's actually broaden that a little bit and talk about UN has seen a dramatic increase in e-waste, isn't it? So if we were to, talk about that in the perspective of Thailand, how is it going to impact us? Or not Thailand, let's say ASEAN, because e-waste can mean a lot of things too, right?
True. And like I said, we are going to be big producers in general, this part of the world, because the population dynamics.
Yeah.
It's difficult to reverse that. There's growing income, growing aspiration to buy things. One of the things, I think you're very right, it's now more common, and even I've seen places around Bangkok and other parts of the world where segregation of e-waste is becoming more popular and acceptable. And that's definitely the kind of educational campaign we want. But we also need a process in the back, right? You need to be able to collect it. These car batteries, by the way, are huge and can also be hazardous. It's going to be quite difficult for us to go and take it to a e-waste center.
Yeah.
What we really need is to take it to a maintenance, a petrol pump. Well, no petrol pumps, right? EV charging stations.
Yeah.
So actually, that will be the best place, or your outlet, the manufacturer's outlet, and they need to safely take it out, store it, because believe it or not, it's once it's degrading, you've got to transport these things quite properly. There'll be a whole box of them, and there are specialist companies around the world that are already doing this sort of stuff.
Right.
So they are collecting it, storing it, taking it on its way to a recycling facility which has all the licenses. That's the other thing. We don't want this going into the informal sector. It's too dangerous. We need at least those big batteries to go right to a proper facility where proper techniques are being used to take this metal out.
But then that it's very limited then in the number of manpower, in the number of location that is being implemented as well.
True. We are just at the beginning. I would say most of Asia, I think, is probably still just making the legislation.
Yeah.
Thailand actually hasn't passed the law yet. There's a great e-waste management plan. There's a national e-waste management plan. There's a strategic integrated plan telling people what to do, and there are educational campaigns. But the actual law is in draft form. It's under stakeholder consultation, so that's a good sign. They want everybody's inputs in. But once that is passed, the next stage will be to make sure that the people already in the recycling industry probably need to upskill themselves, because it's a different kind of waste. And then the most critical thing is, what you have to extract has to be of very high degree of purity, otherwise you can't actually reuse it. So there's going to be some technological skills that need to grow around it.